Welcome to episode 15 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. Welcome to all the new listeners. Welcome back to everybody who's been listening. For everybody who's used to the link by now, the Cadence Club link, salute to Tony Chumley and Kevin Farrick. These guys making a lot of changes, and I think that link is where I want the podcast to live. Is a pretty sweet space, if you ask me, because I could share all the content that I have, whether they be conversations or anything like that. And it's easy for you, no matter which episode I send out, to go and listen to any of the older episodes, either on the Cadence Club link, or if you click on where to listen, you will see several different podcasts, apps that you could go and listen to. And the nice thing now is that you could comment on the episodes as they go along right on the link. You don't need to leave the link to comment or discuss. So for all the people who've been telling me that they're talking back to the radio, and think that's a good way to input it. And when you input it, best believe we go talk about whatever you put there in the next episode, and we'll correct whatever mistakes we make and all these nice things. So if you're enjoying it, that link also allows you to share it with anybody who you might think will listen and will also enjoy. Thank you all so much. Thanks to Stacy for that conversation. As I told you last time, that was the conversation I had recorded before I did the regular podcast. So that wine was a lot. So today I'm coffee. Different substance. I can't manage the wine during the podcast again. It's too much of a struggle, boy. And now talking about episode 14, I now remember this too. I come here last week and I said the episode name is Money and it's episode 14. And I said everybody play 14 every day in the playway. And you know the 14 come about 4 times for the week. And man like Clint and Laurie Benjamin just is like, hey, yeah, 14 come you play. And I ain't played a single time for the whole week. So I don't know. This is episode 15 and it's going to launch on the 15th of September. I don't know what to tell you. But I feel it's better I call some mark and try to get a slice out of it. Because like I can't make the time to go and play playway. And I'm frightened too. I don't want to lose my little hungries playing playway neither. I'm frightened. So what somebody could do is I will call out numbers for episode to episode. Just play all the numbers I call out for me and handle boy. If you get through and you win something, don't leave me out. Just cut your boy a slice. So how was the week? How was everybody's week? I hope everybody had a great week. I did. This was a long week, as my partner tell me. He said, boy, you do plenty talking last week. It was a real talkative week. So this week should be a little lighter. I've used this week to catch up on episodes that you have not heard yet, right? You're probably not going to get 2 and 3 episodes this week, right? Now, again, we always back to COVID somehow at the start of this podcast. And locally here in Trinidad, the numbers, I guess they still continue to rise. At least I was listening to Dr. Hines. He's not happy with where we are yet. So there's an extension of our version of the lockdown. So still we can't eat in restaurants, which I miss. Gatherings have to be small. I think they said 10. And I mean, gatherings for some of us had to be small at least. But we're still in a little bit of a lockdown phase. I guess they're not seeing us at the back side of that curve and downward slope yet, as those guys say. So we just had to do the right thing and wash your hands and sanitize and wear a mask and stay 6 feet apart, right? And sadly, the death toll is rising here. I mean, the biggest, I don't want to say biggest. I'm kind of frightened to talk about this, to be honest. But let me tread carefully. They said that Berkey, if you don't know Berkey, Google Berkey, right? They say he went to West Shore, experienced, wasn't feeling so good, and they transfer him to Coover, diagnose him with COVID, and then by the time we saw going around on WhatsApp and stuff that he was COVID positive, like almost within an hour or so, all of a sudden they send back and say Berkey has passed away. So that was a surprise to me. It was a shock. I guess, I mean, it's always a shock when you hear somebody pass, but it's like you didn't get a chance to absorb the news that he had COVID and all of a sudden he gone. So the conspiracy theories start flying, videos start going around with his son. I mean, how you expect the son to feel? And his wife saying, they feel like the government killed him. And I even saw when they did the press conference the next day, the minister seemed to want to address it without addressing it by talking about patient confidentiality. But it's somewhere along the line they're trying to address the fact that he died from COVID too, and I guess the family's disputes. So they asked, I say the Minister the Alsing asked them to explain what is happy hypoxia. I never hear about the thing either. But he was saying that one of the issues that happen with COVID patients in intensive care is that when they get oxygen or they put them on ventilators, when they start feeling a little better, they start removing the mask. I guess normal human behavior, you're feeling like me. I don't think I ever finished a course of medication yet. Once I started to feel better, I done that. So they say people starting to feel better, removing the masks, and then the lack of oxygen in the system, like almost she trying to say that before you die, while your blood cells lacking oxygen, you go into this happy kind of euphoric state, and not even, I guess you don't even realize that you're dying slowly. So I guess that was to address the claims by his family that we just talked to him and everything was good and everybody was happy and all that. So fast forward to today, they demanding an autopsy. I thought at the beginning of COVID, they had said, and this was not just in Trinidad, it's everywhere. I remember seeing this in New York first when it was bad in New York with the bodies and that kind of thing. And they weren't letting people see their loved ones who would have passed away. And there were no autopsies. You were getting diagnosed with COVID or COVID-related things or comorbidities. And they basically saying, hey, we can't do no autopsy because we don't want to put anybody else at risk in the medical fraternity or cause the disease or virus to inadvertently spread by handling a body that would have the virus still alive on it, And now they're saying that, I don't know what is happening and how they were able to demand the autopsy if they sue the state or what exactly they do, but they're saying that it will be done. So waiting to see where that goes. And I mean, I could understand it, it's like, it was so, if it's so sudden to us as outsiders, people just looking in and just hearing the news on WhatsApp, I could imagine how that would have been to the family. So I mean, above all, rest in peace. And during this time, we have to figure out ways, because everything that they report so far is people who have some other complication or some other medical issue, and the elderly. And it reached kind of close to me too, because our partner of ours who used to go Fatima, a man named Quiet, Quiet passed away with COVID too. And I mean, I found out later that he had some medical issues, which I didn't know about. I can't remember. I'll talk about this in our next podcast now, but rest in peace to Quiet, and that is a real eye-opener. And we have to take care of those who might have preconditions. And if you have a precondition or any kind of issue, you have to take care of yourself too in these times, Don't risk it. And of course, to take care of the elderly. No, I mean, all for that, right? We had enough of COVID. I can't wait to see the back of this thing, to be honest. But on the topic of the elderly, anybody see Verzuz? Patty, this is legends, eh? So I ain't laughing at the legends, but it was elderly. Patti LaBelle versus Gladys Knight. It was pretty elderly. It was old. A combined age of 645 years old. Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight get together and do Swiss Beats and Timbaland Verzuz, and it was good. I was looking forward to seeing it, because like with everybody else who was on this platform is legends in their own right, young legends. But these were some legends. There's no doubt about who they were. And I got this vibe from them, just like what Babyface and Teddy Riley had, like an aura. So there was a long time when we was just watching the Two Cheers. For anybody who watched it, and if you didn't see it, go back on YouTube. You could just put in Verzuz, Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight, you'll see it. We watched Two Cheers for a long time, and then slowly but surely you start seeing some movement. And boy, listen, the legends come out, and they look great. They're 77 years old, I think 77 and 76. And they look great. They look energetic. They just look good. These women take real good care of themselves. And two of them just sit down and start talking. No mic, nothing. And they talk for a good 3-4 minutes, on Instagram, that is forever, but everybody just honoring the legends, right? And you hear somebody off camera say, guys, you're live. Because Patty just basically saying, hey, mother fan from there, that fan blowing my hair. And she pull out a mirror and having a good time. I don't know where she get her glass from that she drinking that wine neither, but that is what legends should drink from. I'm looking for one to buy. But they take a long time to realize they're live. When they tell them they're live, both of them was like, what do you mean, live? We live? And then they had to tell them, like, no, pick up the mics. Well, boy, them pick up the mics and them start a whole conversation about who are grandchildren and who think growing up nice and who went to school where and what Martin Luther granddaughter say and how great she is and Obama and Michelle Obama is. Listen, them having a conversation among them forget all about Verzuz. They wasn't studying the music at all. They had no... They come there to enjoy themselves. And that they did. They wasn't really taking on what Swiss Beats and them had planned, no? Them decide they're going to catch up with one another. They both say, we're not performing, we're not touring because of COVID, of course. And this is the one chance to get to perform and enjoy themselves. But boy, them come there to enjoy one another. And the nice thing about it is, like, if you ever see Patti LaBelle before, I never see her perform or anything, but I saw her in interviews before, and she's a character on her own. Them invent the word diva, because she have a whole set of suitcases next to her, and change her shoes on top of the suitcases, and she change the shoes a couple of times till she kick off that and start to walk barefoot. And boy, them started to do some dance, and it was just nice to see them there and enjoy themselves and, give them the flowers while they're alive, boy. That's one of the things I like about Verzuz a lot. Is really an opportunity to give flowers to the legends while they're still here. And the lineup of songs, now both of their lineup of songs impressive, right? And so to ask them to play 20 songs is... It was with all the other legends, to narrow it down to 20 is something else. And with two of them more than anybody else, it almost didn't matter what they play. It's just like seeing them was enough. They could have just go ahead and talk for the hour and we'd be cool. Now, mind you, it went for 2.5 hours because beyond the conversation they had in the beginning, they're having a whole conversation between songs that not really about the songs. It's like, I love you, Patty. I love you. I love you. I know you love me. And listen, them went on for that for a long time, but it didn't matter. Just seeing them there and the whole divahood. And one of the things that struck me looking at that last night, like I start trying to figure out what age they would have been when they were singing their big hits. And they both were talking about the early 20s. Now think about it. If they're 70-something now, when they were in their 20s, they just come in fresh out of segregation and thing. So segregation now looking to wrap up when they becoming stars. So they would have worked with people like Ray Charles and stuff, but they would have been young at the time. And imagine these two legends, divas, our heroes, our queens. I trying to picture now at 20, they can't perform certain venues. And when they go, they don't have a proper dressing room. They're in a broom closet changing. It's surreal to think that we put people through them kind of things. I say we loosely, right? I mean, it's amazing that the people like them would have been treated like that back in the day. Who their music would have been celebrated by any race or anybody. And them people, you want to segregate them? It's surreal when you think about it. And the thing is, in between talking, I guess, when they run some music, when them ladies start to sing them songs over them tracks, their voice immaculate and their mic control, everything about them, boy, it was something else to see. Is the consummate professionals. Because as much as they talk and they laugh and they catching up and thing, when that music hit, you're seeing his superstars and his real singers. Ain't too much auto-tune or no fixing and them things needed. People who could sing live from beginning to end of the song. And at 77, get up and shake a leg while they're singing to, and no point you seeing them out of breath or anything like that. And I keep wondering to myself, like, which one of them gonna play That's What Friends Are For? Because Verzuz go once you're on the track, you could play it. And then to see Dionne Warwick come out, who are a little older than both, and I think she's 80. And boy, listen, Dionne Warwick came out and that voice so distinct. I mean, Patti LaBelle voice distinct. But you can't miss Dionne Warwick, boy. And I was wondering if they surprised them. But I don't think that would be such a good idea to surprise anybody. Dion. I don't know how long Dion was there waiting and thing, but it looked like they had the thing planned. The surprise was for us, not for them, gratefully. But they came out and they sing them songs. And you know, the thing about it is both of them were forgetting, that's Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight, were forgetting lyrics of songs and telling them, hey, y'all better control them thing. Let me see them lyrics. You know, I can't remember nothing. And when Dionne Warwick came out, she was like, basically, hey, you only remember all the parts and things because I can't remember this. I find the entitled at that age, if you can't remember, you can't remember. And I mean, Dionne Warwick, these rappers is talk about living their rhymes and things. Dionne Warwick living her rhymes, you know, because she do some plastic surgery there. She keeps smiling. She can't stop smiling. She keeps shining, just like her lyrics. So that plastic surgery, she's smiling and shining, just like the song say. But they run through that song and it was just great to see them in the same room. That we need to bubble wrap with legends. I see somebody making joke about Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles doing a verses because Stevie ain't gonna know Ray Charles in there. I find that was kind of mean. But they need to bubble wrap Stevie Wonder and these legends. And I find they should do, like Stevie Wonder should do a verses himself. Just play 20 of your songs versus 20 of your next songs. 20 young Stevie versus older Stevie. But it would be nice to see him get showcased like that. I have nobody. I saw somebody online saying, who they said boy Stevie Wonder? And I can't remember the artist they were saying, no, but there's nobody. I don't know if there's any artist alive who could play 20 songs with Stevie or who won that Stevie smoke. It not happening. So the verses will be hard to top. And I mean, as much as I appreciated that last night, I never liked that music when I was growing up. When them songs were so popular, like That's What Friends Are For on the radio. And like in the early days, I can't remember if it would have been NBC or NBS radio or something like that, boy. Oh my God. I don't know if that was 100. Like I remember my mother dropping me to New Tongue Boys on a morning. And that is all that used to play on the radio on a morning, boy. It would be same. It's between Tony Lee and you could remember Dave Elcock. I wonder if people remember Dave Elcock. They used to play these songs on a morning, and I had to drive. We driving from St. James to go Marval Road to drop me to New Tongue Boys, and I used to hate these songs, all of them. Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight, Aretha Franklin. What's the next one? What do you want name? Anita Baker? Or something like that? I used to hate them songs, but I grind in 7 o'clock in the morning. I had to go to school every morning to that music. But I grew to appreciate it now. But I was listening to that last night thinking how much I hated that kind of music. And thank God for that a man named Edison Carr, who would have been, like people know him now as a broadcasting teacher. But he was the only man I remember back then who used to play a little dub on the radio on a Saturday morning. Edison Carr, your girl, walking machine and a little I am Constable Brown, they call me Boy Blue. You could have got a little thing from Edison Carr, but other than that, Dave Elcock and them men was not playing. Them men was playing the Keep Smiling and Keep Shining every morning, but I had a good. I guess it's just bad memories of having to go to school on a morning. But I mean, these youths now have it different because my son, he started his first day of online school today, and I saw a lot of pictures and everything last week. We were talking about that, who started online school and trying to look good, you know what I mean? They look energized, they look refreshed. They started the first day of school, and my son's school started today. And you know, the thing about it is, you know, first day of school, I remember my first day of school in Newtown. When they dropped me off, I didn't understand that. Now, first, the school where you was going in kindergarten and daycare and nursery is a whole plating, and it's a blocks and mat on the ground. And you know how that is look, and some nice little desk and all kind of nice colors and numbers on the wall. Then they come to drop me in this New Tongue Boys looking like a big prison with big boys. Them men looking like 25 years old who in standard 4 and 5. And boy, I bawled from the time I realized my mother not staying. I don't know. I thought she was staying with me for the day. I don't know where I come up with that idea. But I thought she's staying with me for the whole day. And when they drop you in kindergarten, the auntie coming out and meet you and mommy walking you in and boy, my mother leave me. And there had a lady who was the custodian in Newton boys named Sheila. Sheila and Barbara. Let me see how good all the Newton boys' memory is. Boy, Sheila had to pull me in the school and restrain me from running back in my mother car. It was one of the worst days of my life. But my son was good. He was good this morning. Now, he's a man been asking for online school for a long time. Eh? He can understand why we can't do school online. So like my boy get his wish today and he started online school. And you know what's the sad thing? You know, Stacy cried because the boy started online school like if she cried like if this is first day of school. I said, well, babe, this is, he home. We're not going nowhere. What was the tears about? And when he come out, she coming out, I'm so proud of him. And I was like, hey, he been doing this for a while. I don't understand. That's all he's do whole day, sitting in front of tablets anyway. So what is the difference? But maybe it might be let me get him to tell all his experience with his online school and let me tell all my experience because I was getting real kicks. You know, I like to laugh. So one of the boys, before the online, the teacher introducing himself and they're doing the little thing, I realized they have to do the prayer and it's like you're in school. I thought they're just going to come on and start to teach, but nah, it's prayer and anthem. I see his little cousin Jelani, his bigger cousin Jelani, had to stand up for the national anthem in front of the computer in his school uniform. I was like, but I guess it's a discipline. It's a good thing, right? But when the teacher asks if your boys have any questions, you know, boys say, so, can we leave our mics on during the break so we could talk to our friends? I like the innocence of children. This is 8-year-olds. I think they're in standard. Stacey, go tell Oliver standard in. I think it's 2 or 3 or 4. So better he talk about his own experience because my little viewpoint there it was kicks. To see them little children come on for the first time and just hailing out one another and everybody happy. Once a man come online, it's like, hey, Zachary. It's just the same chatter as primary school. But let me hear what he had to say about it. Okay, hi. Good night.
Good night.
What is your name?
Zachary Shefabab.
What? Nobody understands what you're saying.
Zachary Shefabab.
Zachary Shepard-Bab?
Yes.
What school do you go to, Zachary Shepard-Bab?
San Fernando Boys RC.
Talk normal now, talk properly.
I just laughing. That's how you say it first time.
What school do you go to?
San Fernando Boys RC.
How is that school for you?
Great, actually.
So how was today? Given that today was your first day of online school, I want you to tell the listeners how today went with online school.
It went great. And it's really fun doing it. Yeah, if Sir asks us to answer something, we can unmute our mics and leave the call when it's break time. And it's fun just doing it on our computer. P.S. I prefer online school.
What you know PS? What you know about PS? Why you prefer online school?
Because it's just like more fun to do than regular school.
How is it more fun? You didn't have fun at assembly this morning?
Okay, yes, I had fun, but it's just that I find school, you don't get to use a laptop to control your mic and stuff. It's just more fun like doing
so
that.
So you don't have to control anything in school. You just sit down and listen to the teacher. But today you got to do what? What you had to do with the laptop today?
It just if Sir picked us to answer a question, and if we watch a video before and we know the answer and he picked us to answer it, we have to unmute our mics, scroll over to the mic, unmute it, and tell Sir the answer and then unmute.
You just enjoy unmuting the mic over and over.
You know, that is true.
Do you learn anything?
Yes, I learned everything.
Well, tell me what you learned. Tell me one thing you learned today in online school.
You know what? I love you. You know that?
You learn one thing when the day comes.
Yes, I do. I do a lot. I learn a lot of stuff when the day comes.
Wasting the government time.
No,
so was it good to see your friends online even though you didn't get to see them in person, or would you prefer to see your friends face to face?
Don't hit me, but It may not be a computer.
I don't understand what you said. What's your face-to-face or over the computer? Which one you prefer?
Both.
You prefer both?
Yeah.
So you don't mind doing online school some days and regular school some days?
Yeah, I would like to actually meet my friends in person, but some days should I'm over a computer. And the best thing, you could zoom into their backgrounds.
So you zooming into people's backgrounds? We might need to edit that out. So if you had the choice, right, to go a couple days where you could see your friends and go to regular class, you would want to do that?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Like 4 days a week and just do one online?
Uh-huh.
That's good enough?
Yeah.
So what you had to do today? You had to wear school uniform or what did you wear?
We have to wear home clothes, but it can't be like a vest or anything.
So you had to be covered up?
Yep.
So what you wore?
Like, to school, I would usually come in the same clothes, not literally, but the same jacket I would come with every day.
You usually come in the same jacket every day?
Yeah.
So the jacket you wore to online school was what you usually wear when you go to school? Yes?
Wait. No. Well, one time I wore it to school, but not often I wear that jacket.
Okay. But you were comfortable? So you didn't find it was long? You weren't tired when you were done?
Nah, it's like 5-6 hour process.
5-6 hour process?
Yes.
I kind of prefer when you go to regular school because then you're sleepy when you come home in the car. This afternoon, you're like more energetic than when you started school this morning, which is not good news for me.
Why?
Nobody don't want you with no energy. You need to be tired when school done.
We have a dog, right? And you know how much energy the dog does have every day? He has so much energy in the day.
What we should do is get online dog since you like online so much. Were you playing games during class, like going out to other stuff? Other than just the call?
Yeah, we would usually turn off our cameras and mute our mics for break and stuff.
Okay, so during break, you didn't get to really interact with your friends too much?
No, well, the break we got to, for the break time and lunch time, Jacob, one of my friends, before lunchtime asked if we could unmute our mics and talk to our friends after eating our lunches before class start, because we finish eating our lunches at 12 and Sissy coming out at 12:30. So
okay, so that was good. You all got to talk and stuff.
Yeah.
So before school, you had to do the normal things you usually do when you go to school. You had to do assembly and prayer and the national anthem and all that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But that was good. You enjoyed that still.
Yeah.
You prefer to be home.
Yes.
Okay,
Definitely.
bye. Anything you want to say to anybody?
That love God and whatever you do not stare at a person weirdly for 15 seconds. Your eyes will go mad.
So let's do some quick questions. Talking to the mic, right?
Right.
Of your both parents, who prays and go to church more?
Mommy.
Daddy? Why you have to think about that so long?
Mommy, obviously.
What do you mean, obviously?
She's go to church with me every Sunday. I watch Holy Mass every Sunday.
Yeah.
Like you participating, it's only like 1 or 2 months.
All right, okay. So who's cuss more, daddy or mommy?
Oh, definitely mommy.
All right, bye. Mission accomplished. Bye. Tell everybody bye.
Goodbye.
Later. Yeah, so you heard from the man himself, right? He is, you see what he's been dealing with. This is what he's been trying to tell you for the last how much ever episodes. This is day in, day out. So anyway, online school is great apparently, and maybe a mix between the two, because you could see the boys happy to see one another. So I mean, post COVID, we had to figure out if there's such a thing. We had to figure out how we could get them to interact, because the online thing way more convenient, but I think at that age, interacting with your friends physically might have a lot of value still. So we'll see how it goes. It was a long day. Boys' school is doing, I think, is like the same time you would usually be in school. So let's say it's 8 to 2:30. I don't know what's the right time. That's what they're doing. I was thinking that it should be like shorter hours for them. Like I was talking to my partner, husband, about this yesterday, and his children, and they being online, schooled online, and I lecture on online courses too. And I think that's a long day. I try to make it real digestible and short, so that people don't have to be sitting down in front of a computer all day. And then you remember, like little children, you had to study their eyesight and all that. And I mean, it's an adjustment, but like everything that have its ups, it have its drawbacks too. So I guess we had to make the best of both worlds and find some balance. Now, balance. I don't know if balance is a good one. Maybe I should not use the word balance at all, because during this past week, I see two people, not two people, now a bunch of people in this country who way off balance. And what to do now? Start to call names? Who names to call first? Call Gary Griffith name first? Because he's off balance, way off balance. I don't know what it will take to get somebody like him in balance. I think Dr. Rowley off balance too. Because, well, for those who don't know the issue, the thing start in Bayside, right? Because Bayside, I guess it's Bayside Towers up in the West. Somebody take a little sneak video of people liming and partying by a pool, right? Which we know you're not, as far as I know, you're not supposed to do that. That's the things they're reiterating at every press conference that they have in every single day. Sometimes twice a day. And then sometimes when the health people done with their press conference, the police have a press conference and they're telling us to gather no more than 10 people and this and that and the other. So somebody in Bayside, I guess, was complaining that people having a poolside party. And they might have called the police and they didn't find the police coming on time. So what they decide to do is to record the people and do, the next best thing is to record and put everybody on Facebook, Instagram, share it everywhere, share it widely. Let everybody see what happened. So, of course, everybody wants to see what's going on. Because Gary is a man like to make people apologize and lie down. I remember the little fellas in Sea-Lots who we make lie down and say, sorry, Gary. I remember our next person was in a video with a gun that turned out to be false. And I think she was saying, shoot this one and think Gary, and she was there. That was a prop for a video shoot, but she was made to stand up in front of the camera and apologize. I also remember some people's faces up in a place in Lady Chancellor. We have a little private zest. And they had, their whole face was an apology when you see them people's photos, because there's a whole, like a sex party up in the Chancellor. Nobody can call him a man like me. But they were made to line up and photos being taken. As far as I concern, the only people who could take them pictures is the police who was on the operation. Because I can't go with my phone. If they catch me in a Chancellor party, me taking no picture myself and spread it around. And if I'm an outsider or a bystander, I can't just pass and go inside the people's residence and take pictures of all the people. That one in Chancellor was every single one of them face. You could see the police tell them, look at the camera. There was another one people were sharing during the week where they handcuffed some boy's hand. They handcuffed them to one another. And somebody was saying the way they pose awkward and you see in the thing, you could almost hear the police saying, watch the camera, and the police sharing it. I don't know if they share it among themselves first. And you know how that goes. It gone viral and things. So I waiting to see what he's saying. I guess with everybody else, what are you going to do? Because all you having private party and thing, the video evidence is there. Because remember that girl I tell you about who had the prop, the gun. Police wasn't there when she do it. She do the thing and she say Gary and spray up and brrr. And they use the video to find who that person was and they get the person to apologize. It's not one or two or three stories like that. Anybody who here could say that is a thing that's happen all the time, if we're being honest. And all of a sudden now, like that is not an issue because we're waiting to see what going to happen to that person and we ain't hearing nothing crickets. So, the boss, Dr. Rowley, in the briefing, he find himself saying in his he have a go tone. When he go in the aggressive tone and he gets serious. The man basically saying that the police have a responsibility to this and that, and I can't instruct the police what to do. What they have to do is, as a prime minister, I can tell them that everybody has to be treated the same, and this is a serious. The man went off. Now, the little bit I know, right? I do not think that a prime minister should be given any directive, directly or indirectly, to a commissioner of police. I also don't agree that the Prime Minister should be involved at all in the appointment of a commissioner of police, but that is how it is. I can't change that now. That is how it is. But the police should be an independent body for these same reasons. Now, Gary is a man. He's a man like smoke. So from the time I see Rowley went on the attack like that, I expected Gary to do exactly what he did and basically go back on attack too. He don't listen to what remember I was saying in an episode before, don't worry about how somebody says something. Just listen to what they say and see if it's useful or not. Gary don't believe in that. Gary not taking no sort of talk. He not taking no bad up from nobody. He's a gangster police. You remember when I guess the police, I don't know if it's him or the police or immigration, wanted to stop Buju from coming here to do his first show. And when Buju came and everything gets sorted out, you remember Gary went on stage with Buju and pretend like he going and chant, and these men are lovers of themselves. He on that stage and he loving that moment. And that's who Gary is. So when Dr. Rowley said bap, 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 and he fire, I know Gary going and fire back. So the first place I hear him is on Dominic Kalipasad radio show 995.5, basically going into the Prime Minister, saying the Prime Minister making it about race. And I mean, Kalipasad and all songs surprised when the man said that. He say, are you saying, and listen, Dominic Kalipasad is a great man for them kind of thing, because he asks very direct questions and he don't take too long to get to what the question is, and you're going to answer him. So he basically is like, so what you're saying, the Prime Minister is playing a race game, and Gary is like, yeah, the Prime Minister playing race games because we don't have the authority to this and in a private property. And I thinking, since when the police don't have authority based on the public health ordinance? So this is when they first said that we can't congregate. And this is before they said that we have to wear masks, right? When they first said that we cannot congregate and thing, and one of the first statements to come out was that, hey, it don't matter if it's in a private home, we come in, Gary and the boys, pow. And all of a sudden, my guy, the first press conference Gary do after that Bayside thing is the most I ever hear him stammer. When he was saying who was cockroach and thing, he wasn't stuttering. So, him, well, it's complicated, it's tricky because it's private property and there's a shared pool. And I thinking, wow, this is the same Gary who is being attacked mode. Well, boy, Gary reached back by Dominic Kalipasad because he's the Prime Minister playing games and you can't direct the police and you can't judge the police based on this and that and the other. And going on and on and on and on. And boy, listen. So it seems as though with the both of them, I put in both of them in the same boat, because rather than we focus on what's the issue, that when people congregate and they not wearing masks and no social distancing, we're gonna be dealing with the same problem that we're dealing with now. Why businesses how to operate like a maxi man can't carry full maxi load because of decisions like these when people want a party and lime and them kind of thing. But both of them lost sight of the issue, and it turned out to be is an ego battle now, because both of them have ego and they're ready to go at one another. And so neither of them is two peas in a pod to me, yes. And when Rowley cool, but when he ready to trip, he ready to trip. And listen, for the people who every time I say something about Rowley or the government or anything like that, who want to put me down as an opposition man. The worst thing in this country, I could, as I was always saying in all the podcasts, I can't talk to the bases of the political parties, You see, if you're a diehard or whatever, I never really talking to you, I can't talk to all you. Because one side of the thing jump up to defend Rowley and the next side jump up to defend Gary Griffith. And listen, all your colors is be showing, boy. All your ketchup and mustard is be showing, and I can't take it. Ketchup and mustard is staying. So instead of somebody listen and say, hey, the Prime Minister probably shouldn't be trying to give any directive to a commissioner of police. Them trying to say, well, who is this and why is thing and who is the boss and you have no respect and this and that and the other. So let me solicit the help of my partner. That, as a new fan of Fazir Mohammed, all of a sudden, I used to bad talk Fazir Mohammed all the time, but as a Fazir fan from now, and let me get some help from him as to why I have no time to talk about the opposition.
And forget about the UNC, because the UNC will call people to go. They have somebody who's aspiring to office, who's so fixated with identifying with the USA, that she went in public and say that the reason we're not impacted by COVID-19 is because of the climate, because of the weather, right? So that is somebody who's aspiring to be Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. So forget the UNC, as I said, they are unelectable. They're bright for the wrong reason, basically. They're too bright for their own good.
And they're in the rightful place, they're in opposition. So I don't know where this thing come from now, where once you're talking about the government, you're a supporter of the opposition, and the opposition is right where it is. I don't have time. How much time we want to dedicate to them? The polls don't say what they have to say. Them have to sort out themselves and see what happens in 2025. But we digress. Rowley versus Gigi. The battle started to heat up again today because a meeting happened, and they listen, all protocols was observed where COVID concerned, because there is the most amount of social distancing I ever seen at a meeting. To the point where them men had the police on one side of the room, the government or the part, I don't know what to call them, rollers and his crew on one side, and them man had to use mic to talk to one another with a big speaker in between. I thinking, but 6 feet apart, them men was about 35 feet apart. But I was glad to see like they have a meeting, because when I see they have a meeting, I scratch this off and I say I ain't go bother to talk about this, because the point I was coming here to make was that maybe two of them should talk to one another. And don't go and call him out in public in a Ministry of Health press conference. And you don't go on Dominic Kalipasad's show and try to show up the Prime Minister and talk about he talk more race and is that this and is that that. I say dialogue might be the best thing. So I say, well, all right, the men, at least they get to this point, so there's that. Only to see later in the day, some one of the newspapers print the thing as Gary Griffith summoned, and the memes start to fly. But when your boss call you, and your boss says, my father's my boss, right? So every now and again he say, hey, you have a minute? The answer to that question is yes. When your boss call you, the answer. You have to go and see what your boss saying. So the newspapers put it as the Gary Griffith summoned by Rowley. And the memes start to follow through on that to say he gets summoned and you get gangster. And that man make an official TTPS press release to say that he was not summoned, he was asked to come to the meeting. I'm thinking, but what kind of pettiness? Why you care about that so much to make an official release about that? But and then I started to remember that this is a man who would answer people on Facebook, and if you say something bad about Gary, that's you only see how late in the episodes I usually talk about Gary. That's how he don't hear and he don't ever find out and don't respond, because I can't deal with that kind of smoke. Brian Hero man go deal with that. He and Gary go face off at some point, but not this podcast. I frightened. But if you had time as a police commissioner to respond to people on Facebook as Minister of National Security last time, then I guess you had time to put out a press release, official statement I talking about, to say that I was not summoned. The Prime Minister can't summons me, basically. I mean, is gangster talk, man. Come to talk, man. Come to let it be known that I am in charge. But the people at the meeting, it looked like they was far apart, but it looked like they come closer together on the issue. And luckily for our listeners, we have exclusive audio of what the meeting was about and what it went on. So you're not going to hear this anywhere else. But there's the audio from the meeting. All right. All right, Gary. Okay. All right, Roland. Okay. Don't talk over one another. Right. Right. Mm-hmm. How about Bayside? No. No, but there's no... Mm-hmm. No, but that's we put them to lie down. Oh, you can't find them. What's this really a mud breaking? Okay. Listen, you see, some of them need online school. The parliamentarians, they should make them go online school and go and do assembly and sing the anthem one thing before they come out. Yes, because it's for big people. I can't believe that so much grown, highly educated, experienced, qualified people just lost sight totally of what the real issue is and go on clear. And you know, there's the thing about the ketchup and mustard people that is game. Nobody can see the next person's side. If I ketchup, I just ketchup for life. Ketchup till I'm dead. And same thing with the mustard people. You know, ketchup and mustard is tastes good when you mix it in. But Gary Griffith make a good point in the midst of all this thing, that the ketchup people not acknowledging at all. The man say when all he was campaigning and everybody was on top of one another and thing and a high five and his elbow and PNM left, right and all them thing. Everybody was asking for leniency. I distinctly remember as well, a mustard candidate was vexed and asking Indigo Martin, so all you come to shut down my thing, all you gonna shut down the ketchup thing too? And that's all it's about, is always just ketchup versus mustard. It's never ever serious. And then in the midst of all this thing, my hero have a private beach. She decide, and listen, you have a private beach. You know you could just keep quiet about your private beach. You don't have to say anything to anybody. But she decides she going on Facebook and she gonna let it be known that this is their private beach and nobody can tell them nothing about being on a private beach because that is their business. Well, boy, I don't know where the meme people has come from, and I don't know how they're so quick to create these things, but my girl, and again, I myself second guessing myself to try to figure out, wait, we have private beaches and thing. I kind of remember this thing coming up with Tobago and it being said that there are no private beaches in Trinidad and Tobago. But boy, my girl find herself on a private beach. Well, I want to give her credit. Sammy Mami. That's the name. Sammy Mami. I think it's Samantha Ramishan, if I'm not mistaken. And boy, she ended up all over the internet real fast. And but the greatest I see is a fellow named, if you didn't see it yet, go and look for Aaron Schneider. Is the greatest thing on Facebook. That man make a video mocking that girl. It's one of the best I see. And to me, like, I see the two videos at the same time. I want to know what, like, he was there. How he planned all this thing so quick to respond to this girl. But it's like, we're not taking, and again, the same TTPS, like I said, Gary, he right to say when the campaigning was going on, they was making a joke out of the thing and now they embarrassing him publicly. But you too, Gary, you can't find you saying that you're looking for this person because they was on the beach when it's clear. This is not a private property now, right? Beaches is public property and you're not supposed to be on the beach. It's clear that the beach is banned. Because remember, all you're going and send people down Cora. Remember? When man was looking to go on Lime and Cora, he was coming and mash up Lime and them kind of thing. Based on video. So now you have video of people on the private beach and it's nothing. Days passing and nobody can find them. It's all right. It's cool. On to the next thing. Sports. Forget these people. I can't deal with them for too long. Congratulations to TKR for winning, not just winning the CPL, but winning all the games in the CPL running up to the final pretty handily and being real disrespectful by leaving Narayan off the team too and still beating them pretty handily. Salute to, where's my Zook's partner name again, boy? I see any fellow face and can't remember, boy. This is disrespectful. Darren Sammy. Salute to Darren Sammy. The Zooks never really make it to the playoffs and they never reach a final and them thing. And I find Sammy's just a real good captain overall. So congratulations to him for reaching the final. If you come just short or whatever, cricketers have the words they say, like I backed myself and we came up just short, and it was nice. And looking forward to CPL next year when we have crowds and all that. And I never really watch IPL. I never follow it, but what I go do, I go and follow it. I believe they say playing in the UAE. So some of the players went straight from the CPL bubble straight into a UAE bubble. So I hope that goes well. I'll be following it. I have nothing else to do. The Prem start back, and it's good to see nice little football on a Saturday morning again. Chelsea looking strong. We're looking like we're going to take it this year. I don't know where Liverpool come out, but they need to slow down. But that was nice. And what else you have in sports, boy? There was a guy called Tom Brady. I don't know the hard to bad talk Brady. You know, NFL start back this week too. I don't know the hard to bad talk Brady. But what I know is Brady and Gronk, them men regretting this decision to go Tampa. Because it just didn't look like if they was on the same, the whole offense wasn't on the same page at all. Tampa defense decent, but our offense ain't ready yet. And the Pats look good. Cam Newton, you're looking good. Cam Newton, you need to pass the ball. You're not a young man. You're injury prone. You can't be running out the clock to win a game, but you taking the carry and getting all them hits. Try and preserve yourself now. We have plenty games to play. The Patriots looking decent. We could be, well, all we need is a little, we get a TKR win. And then Chelsea win out the Premier and Champions League and everything. And then the Patriots win back a 15th Super Bowl. And somehow I want to be able to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the way to that Super Bowl too. So we're glad for it. And the sports, we're back in a gear where sports concerned. It's September. And we have a little sports to watch and the fantasy football to follow. And think, I didn't even watch my fantasy team. I don't care how I'm doing. I will watch that. I will watch that when it's closer to next weekend. And if I'm doing good, I'm keeping it up. And if I ain't doing so good, I'm deleting my side. I'm telling all you outright. Now, sports. No matter how you want to be a sports person and love your sports and things, Trinidad and Tobago sports is a funny kind of place. Now, let me say this before I get into this, right? When the national team playing, I don't miss games. Men's or women's, the senior teams. I ain't so good at the junior ones, and most of the time it's because I don't know. If I know Trinidad playing under 19, under 21, I will be there in whichever stadium. The last, like when they have times where you would have swear it was COVID because it's me alone in the stands, like it's a bubble I was in watching Trinidad play football. And anybody who know me know I back in Trinidad to win and make it to the World Cup every single time. So this situation with TTFA and thing had me particularly bothered. Because I'm feeling like if I was financing some of these things that was happening, my $100 or $200 or whatever was being paid to go in these games and to buy in jersey and them kind of thing. And I don't like it. But what I could say about it is that Mark Bassant is a genius. Like I say on Facebook, I want to live a life where Mark Bassant never had to look into nothing I doing. Because Mark Bassant went and buck up on David John Williams, ex-president of TTFA. And he was playing a little golf up in Brechin Castle there, and Mark Bassant roll up on the man on the golf course. Now, this brother had nerves of steel. Let me talk about this first. Because I play a little golf. I play golf this weekend. And the sun was so hot, I thought I was going to die. I was having a heat stroke. I sure I was on the verge of a heat stroke on the golf course this weekend. And I'm not good at it. I'm doing everything I feel I could do, and that ball ain't going nowhere near where I aim it. But David John Williams have a camera in his face and Mark Bassant rattling off facts about hidden bank accounts. And this man is hitting fairways and hitting Bassant talking all in the man backswing, no respect. And he is sparking that ball up the road. I don't work on my game. But I looking at this story, and if you haven't seen it, go to CNC3 Facebook page and take in the documentary that's talking about David John Williams' reign over Trinidad football. And the way they're talking about funds being siphoned off. And the man have the most ridiculous, let me say, unique middle name in the world. And that unique middle name is showing up on a bank account in Panama. And some company that looking like a shell corporation. Is a sad thing in Trinidad football. And we as the fans, I go into these games and I back in the side all. I remember when Stephen Hart get fired. It's one of the first time since Ben Hacker I see Trinidad football looking like we play into a system. Like we have a style of football that the coach looking to see from the players. I wasn't seeing that under a lot of other coaches. But I was seeing it with Stephen Hart. Wait, is Stephen Hart or Kevin Hart? Or Calder Hart? Stephen Hart. I was seeing it with him, and I was the team was gelling. We was losing a few games here and there, but we was beating some people too. And he get fired. I think I couldn't understand what they fired a man for, boy. And in my opinion, no, that team that took us to that 2006 World Cup was a bomb squad. That was a good team overall, because it was just the right balance between experience and youth, because you had York and Latapi who had come back in to play there. And you had somebody like Shaka, this is a real experienced player, Shaka Hislop. But you also had men like Otis Whitley and Denzel Theobald and Evans Wise might be somewhere in the middle there. He ended up on the trip. He wasn't in the qualifiers. He ended up on the trip, I think, because if I remember right, Silvio Span was injured. But it's right youth between balance between youth and experience. But you see this team with Highland and Molino and Jovan Jones, Alvin Jones. That side I find was a stronger team as a unit than that side that went that World Cup in 2006. And I was ready to bet that we're going back to the World Cup for sure. Not knowing all these administrative issues that happen behind the scenes and men can't get pay. And I remember distinctly an issue between Cordell Cato and I believe at the time, I can't remember if it was Dennis Lawrence or Stephen Hart at the time, where he wanted his wife to be in the camp or some kind of thing like that. And that was the first time I really realized like there's some rumblings about some kind of issue with the way the team being managed and run. But I mean, I couldn't anticipate anything like what Mark Bassant uncovered here. Money that's supposed to be going towards building a home of football basically disappearing and being siphoned off into accounts in Panama. On top of that, money that being borrowed for the operation of the teams. Like I remember one female team, I want to say is the senior team, who went abroad and get basically stranded, didn't have enough funds to do what they needed to do. People had to donate water and things. This is a country that now make World Cup for the first time in 2006. And not a decade later, we having these kind of problems. It's like, what is going on? And I myself, like I always used to say this about Jack Warner back in the day. I used to be backing Jack because Jack making things happen. CONCACAF have an extra spot. We have a better chance to get in. All of a sudden, something happening, and we find we way into the 2006 World Cup. And I guess like somebody was saying, I saw an interview with Lasana Liebert. I think it was on Rhoda Barrett's live stream, and basically saying that John Williams could make Jack Warner look like a saint. Now that's a task, eh? That's a task. To even hear somebody like Lasana Liebert, who used to attack Jack, saying something like that. I mean, to think David John Williams that bad. And I was looking at a report on Wired 868 just before I start here too, that was talking about who else is implicated, because there are a lot of silent voices, you know what I mean? Where's Brent Sancho? You remember when Brent Sancho went and take back some desk hunting from the I think it was the CONCACAF or TTFA office at the time. And Andre Albertis, who is a big voice in sports and always talking about, he calls out corruption in sporting bodies and stuff. And I guess the article saying that he pretty quiet on it. So it's like, oh, you're benefiting, or you're enabling what it is. Andre Albertis, he's still in Toyota. I don't think he did again, and I wonder why. But the thing to me is, I want to be able to go in his stadium and watch football and be real proud and sing Merlin Maximus Dan whoa, whoa, and have a good time. Like I feel real good at the end of our terrible campaign we had last time when we knocked the US out of the World Cup. That's how I want to feel. I'll never forget Alvin Jones score a goal there. It's one of the greatest goals I have ever seen in anywhere. And I was at the right angle to see it too. I was like in the stands just behind him. And that US side that come here and want to walk, like if they, you know what I mean? They can't step in water. They had to give one another jockey back to get on the field. That was exactly what they deserve. And that team was better than that. And Dennis Lawrence, I'm not sure I guess if you're having them kind of administrative issues, you set up the odds against you from the beginning. But we needed to have we needed to have with that bunch of youths, because that was a much less experienced side than what the team that took us to 2006 World Cup. So we needed to really have somebody at the helm who could take this group of youths and basically carry them. You don't have much experience on the field. So when I see Dennis Lawrence as somebody who was a part of that 2006 campaign and who scored that winning goal in Bahrain, he taking the reins. I say, well, all right, we have somewhere to go. But I don't know at this point in time, John Williams taking all the people's money, allegedly, and transferring it out to Panama and saying, and coincidentally, I was coming from a flight from Panama. This had to be 2018. And I was saying, coincidentally, I ended up sitting down next to Mark Bassant on the flight. And I hearing him talking now. I know he's big investigator, Mark Bassant, right? So I investigate myself. I trying to get in on the scoop. I want to know what's going on. And I hearing him complaining and saying, boy, it's a shell company. It's a shell company. This thing is not a real thing. A whole floor empty. And I thinking, what kind of lacquery is this? I trying to see who he trying to bring down and stuff. Now, I thought it had something to do with the AV drilling thing back then. They had a scandal with Petrotrin and some oil company and thing. I don't want to believe that was the story that he now released last week about the football. It's sad to know that is where our football reached to. And everybody I talk to about who know about football. Like, I mean, a person I talk to know football all the time is Wayne Shepherd. Talk about him a few times on the podcast, and he will tell his story too because he's under 15 national coach or assistant coach, and he's been vocal about the issues they facing as coaches with the current administration or the normalization committee. So when he's ready, he will tell his side of the story. But when I hear them talk about it, it sounds like if we so far from recovering and having a national team that we could be proud of again. And it's real sad because come the 2026 World Cup, we had the best chance we ever had, even if we had a sneaky and if deciding that good. USA and Mexico hosting that World Cup, and I believe that leaving 2 CONCACAF spaces open that we could just walk into. But what will happen if we can't beat Guyana and we can't beat Antigua and them small side? We like to beat up on them side. And of late, Guyana football improving and we struggling to beat them. Jamaica making moves and have people in the Premier League. We don't have nobody. It's like we take real steps backwards since 2006. So it can't be that 20 years later we have the easiest route to the World Cup, and then we have an administration that working against us and we can't get into the World Cup at all. So I keep in my eye on that as a warrior, as a warrior to my heart, as a soccer warrior. And unfortunately, whatever happened with the administration, I will always back the 11 people who on the field. So whenever they're playing down here, I will go in whichever stadium and take them in and get my heartbreak as usual, and it is what it is. Now, on this topic of sports, they have some people. I want to talk a little bit about local content before we wrap up this week, right? And they have 2 guys I find who do a great job. That's Nicky Maraj and Al Murray. I'm pretty sure I talked about them on this podcast before, but they have a website called Verzuz, and they do. It's basically sports writing, mostly on football, and them fellas good. So when I get a chance, I'll be happy to have them on at some point. But check them out, fiveaside.com, right? Some other things I've seen happen locally too in the podcast scene. There's a podcast called Yellow Cow Podcast. I'm not sure if it's available anywhere else, but I usually look at it on YouTube. And it's Nadia Batson and Miss Alicia. And they basically saying that they're recording conversations that they've been having at a table for a long time. And it's entertaining. Fellas, all you need to go and check that out and learn what these women talking about. We had to try and figure them out. That should be a little insight into how we go in. There's another thing that I'm looking at on YouTube from a fella I know called Arian Stafford. Arian Stafford is one of the coolest people you'll ever meet. If anybody know Arian, the thing that stands out about Arian is that Arian remembers everybody's name. Once you meet him, he gonna remember your name. And the thing about it is, I don't remember nobody's name. So it took me a long time when this man hailing me out all about to try and make sure I remember this man's name. But he's a good one. And he has a YouTube series called First Step. I like it a lot. What he does is he interviews entrepreneurs, personalities, and basically tries to get from them their journey. And as he puts it, you might look at somebody who's successful and think sometimes that they were always that way, or that they were lucky, or whatsoever the thing might be that you have in your mind, or that you can't get there or you can't achieve that. And all Arian doing is basically uncovering their story and showing you their journey, that they might have come from worse circumstances than you come from, and basically trying to show people what was done. So maybe if you have a parallel in your story or something that you could hold on to help you take that first step, whether it's into entrepreneurship or just doing something you always want to do, or what we call taking the leap, right? I think you're doing a good job of capturing that with a lot of personality. So I think his story was a real interesting one, which I didn't know. And I asked him if he'll be able to come on at some point where we could talk about his story, because he has a story. And he also interviewed JW after his political campaign. That interview was really, really good. I like Jason generally. I think you know that already. So that was a really good interview. And boy, I see one recently with Ken Simmons. Everybody know Ken Simmons from radio. Ken Simmons is a man like to whine. I don't know how to put it better than that. I pause and wherever. He like to whine a lot. Every time you see Ken Simmons on video, he playing soca and whining a kind of way in these things. But I never know Ken Simmons was a old gangster. Ken Simmons casually say how he chop up a man in a Remo. This is what the man say in the interview. And his nickname was Tizik. I like Arian interviews a lot because he just giving you some insight into people who... when you hear Ken Simmons speak, and I mean, this guy speaks so proper and his look so put together, and he have a whole exercise series and he a fit man and thing. And I never know, and I know him as a church man too. Who knew that Ken Simmons was Tizik and chopping up people and so on? Well, a good place to start is check out Arian podcast, and he has several different types of people and different personalities, business, radio, politics, and otherwise. And I hope we keep that going because that's something I really, really enjoy. You know what I really enjoy too? When I finally reach the last topic and I finish record. So we will wrap up on the song, right? The song for the episode. I tell Oli I'm bringing a song for the episodes, and the song for this week is Good Citizens by Mighty Sparrow. The song dedicated to man like David John Williams and people like Sammy Mami and my Bayside crew who want to fet when we trying to arrest a crisis. And I was taking Double G and Rollers off the list, but if all your meeting had to be so far apart on two different tables, all you had to use speakers and things, then all on the list. And then is a who someone's who. Good Citizens, man, and also dedicated to the late great Berkey. So all you hold this, Mighty Sparrow, Good Citizen. And please listen to the lyrics, set up to the drop.
When does someone really become a good citizen? I'd like to know for sure. Why when the ordinary man disagrees with the establishment, they call it treason? Why should they persecute a brother for seeking black power? Don't they know a blind man could see that this is blatant hypocrisy? The real traitors and them are all high in society. Yet the government protecting all of them and penalizing you and me. And in a million different ways they violate the law. It's the same good no good bastards who oppress the poor. They sell in black market, making excess profit, paying a starvation salary. These good citizens are the architects of economic slavery. They say you have the right to criticize, but then you are victimized, and without any reason. Many a time you find yourself politically paralyzed by that same good citizen. Yet these fakes and phonies enjoy a long life of luxury while they spread corruption throughout the country. When they should be arrested, they're protected and respected in this society. And in a million different ways, they violate the law. It's the same good no good bastards who oppress the poor. With a false declaration, tax evasion, defrauding customs duty. These good citizens are the architects of economic slavery. Lust and greed and fraud and strife, they specialize. Double deals, they idolize. If you're brave enough to open your mouth and criticize, one time you are ostracized and or victimized. Still they go unpunished and unaccused of any crime, while on the backs of the ordinary man these vultures climb. They use the riches and the power, make a mockery of the law, and have the law protect them same time. In a million different ways they violate the law. It's the same good no good bastards who oppress the law. They controlling bootlegging, dope peddling, prostitution and piracy. These good citizens are the architects of economic slavery.
All right. Will you be good citizens next week?